I was going to. There's some bloggers and some friends of mine that take the approach. It has been said, I think, at TAM here, that the approach is you're not really trying to convince the person you're talking to necessarily. You are trying to convince the watchers, the people who are observing either the discussion online or the books you're putting in. They're observing from afar, and they may be on the fence. They might even be strong believers, but. That's the approach I've been taking. Is that something that you agree with, or do you think we should use a different method?
Think about the Scientology faith. You could no more convince the top brass that they were wrong, than you could, make a pig fly. But there are some people within that and with other religions that, they're not as indoctrinated. I think the more indoctrinated you are in a religion, the harder it is to get out. And that process is, multifaceted. It's, what do I have at stake in this religion? How long have I studied it? What are my benefits, and what kind of, how deeply I was entrenched, educationally in that. And the more educated some people are in their delusion, the harder it is to get them out. But yes, the fence sitters, the people who are maybe thinking about joining this, that cult or any other cult, and they're all cults. They all started as cults, and that's something that the Christians don't quite understand. They started as a cult themselves. They're all cults, right? But you have to aim. You have to show that the people, the intellectuals within that sect, don't know what they're talking about. I mean, they gerrymander around definitions of words, and they skirt the issue. I mean, almost every logical fallacy you can think of, they use in defense of faith, because faith is that bad. In fact, they even go after science. They say every one of them is to a person in at least some areas. In any religion will, deny or denigrate science. Science doesn't tell all the truth. Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't say that somebody can levitate either. I mean, that doesn't escape the criticism of science, that people just don't levitate, or they just don't rise from the dead, or all those sorts of things. And so they say, well, science can't tell all the truth. It doesn't give us all the truth, and so therefore I can believe that a virgin had a baby. Really, because I have a really warm feeling inside that others have that disagree with me as well. So you have to go for the fence sitters, and if you can do a good job against the intelligent ones, the apologists for their particular faith, and they can see the reasoning behind what we are doing, then maybe you can reach them. It's really tough, though, even at that.
So you said you were training you were an apologist at a minimum, maybe not training for the seminary or anything, but you were at least defending the Christian faith. We have the Clergy Project. I'm sure you've heard Jerry DeWitt and others. Jerry DeWitt really just hit the scene with his new book called After Faith, and his story and Dan Barker's are pretty intense when it comes to how entrenched they were in that community. Did you have any similar experiences, or is it very different because you weren't, say, a pastor or what have you?
Well, yeah, I was a pastor. I was a pastor too, and it's just heart-wrenching. As you find out that your life was spent on the delusion, and you don't have any other means of income. And a lot of the people in the Clergy Project, they need some way to earn a living, and it's nice to have that available. That's for sure. But it's painful. I think it's like pulling out all your hair one at a time, or having the wood splints put up your underneath your fingernails. I mean, it's heart-wrenching. I remember walking the streets around the neighborhood where we lived, just agonizing over these issues, worried about going to hell, and I did it in the age before the internet, really, about in the 90s, early 90s, and not that it wasn't around, but it wasn't too prevalent. Yeah. And I did it alone because I had no one, no agnostic, no atheist to talk to. I did it alone by reading books and thinking through the issues, and it's heart-wrenching, when you have to learn that your eyes have been blinded, all the time. It's hard to do. Yeah.
That's I can't imagine. I mean, I was raised Catholic in the sense that I was forced to go to a Catholic school up until about 5th grade, but thankfully I got out of that. Mm-hmm. And I would say I was younger, so I probably didn't have the same entrenched experience, but it was kind of like, oh, yeah, this isn't true, kind of a moment.
I wish that were all it was for me.
Yeah, and that's why I asked, because I haven't had that kind of experience where I was so entrenched in a community like that where I didn't have that. So I find it very interesting to talk to people like you who have, and you're like, yeah, man, like so many years of being wrong. Like that I can't even imagine how hard that is to get over.
All my friends were Christians. You know, all my family, with a few, you know, rare exceptions, were Christians. I mean, everything I knew was Christianity, and it's like starting over. And yeah, it's really hard. It's heart-wrenching. But you know, some people have within them the ability to say, you know what, I'm going to follow the truth no matter what. I'm going to look for the evidence no matter what. And some people make the argument that these people are rare, you know, to be able to be naysayers and you know, in effect, and go against their cultural, you know, upbringing. And you know, if that's the case, then you know, I was one of those. I'm just trying to reach out for others like that who are serious about the truth and serious about the evidence. And you never know where they are, so you just, you know, you do what you can. And you know, I'm trying to in writing and in print. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super appreciative of what you do. The Foundation's super appreciative of what you do, because we need more voices of people saying, look, I was, not only was I an educated Christian in the sense that you were educated in Christianity deeply, and we always hear the accusation that atheists don't know anything about religion or a particular religion, or, you know, you can't speak about this because you don't have faith, kind of thing. And I'm grateful for people like you who have had those experiences that have come out and write about it and try to convince, or not maybe convince other people, but say, hey, if you're having doubts, I did too. Here's my story. Learn from it.
Right. I think that some of the best people are the former believers in any sect. They know the insides. You know, Dan Barker, Jerry DeWitt, myself. There's lots of others. And you know, we're just doing what we can. I mean, I can't do anything else. I mean, it's you know, once my eyes were able to see, I wanted to help others to see if I can. And so I thank you for this opportunity and for the Richard Dawkins Foundation and all they do.
Awesome. Thank you so much.